And for the first time, the Swans are onward to victory.
Welcome back to A Bevy of Bloods, a fan podcast of the Sydney Swans Football Club.
So to all you loyal Swans out there who just can't get enough of the red and the white,
fluff up your tail feathers and settle in for a potentially biased yarn about all things to do with our beloved Bloods.
G'day there, Cygnets and Swanlings. Welcome back to A Bevy of Bloods, your premier podcast of our Sydney Swans AFLW. A very special one this week. We're very excited, but you're joined as always by the crew from Sydney. I'm Chris and this is Jen.
That's right, you lucky loyal Swans fan. We have a treat in store for you today. We welcome a very special player to our podcast. She joined the Swannies after moving north from the Western Jets in Victoria. Having played 4 NAB League campaigns, she was named Best on Ground for Vic Metro's champion in 2021. She was also judged MVP for the National AFLW Academy against the Under-23 All-Stars. She also finished up runner-up in the AFLW 2022 Club Champion and won Players Player Award after an impressive breakout season. It is none other than our very, very favourite, the number 1 pick from the 2022 draft. Welcome, Montana Ham.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yes, thanks for having me.
No worries at all. Look, thanks for joining in. We've been very lucky. We've been watching your career and very, very excited about today. You are absolutely a Bevy favourite and, of course, a fan favourite. But straight off the bat, how are you and how are you feeling? How's the body holding up?
Yeah, good. Feeling good. Had a little bit of niggles this season, but still trying to work out what works for my body, what doesn't. But yeah, I was managed to get a good pre-season under my belt this year. So little steps, little wins.
We did hear a lot about yourself in the VFL competition, and there's a lot of players really excited about what you were doing there, and a few players who also said they didn't want you running into them. So you did look and sound like you had a pretty good pre-season under your belt. So well done on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think McAvoy actually mentioned that you were hitting people like a truck. Can we validate this? Is this correct?
No, just her, really.
You got to keep the captain in line, right? You got to keep her on their toes.
I suspect that she'd be a pretty good tackler. Is she a bit of a tough unit to come up against?
She is. She always picks me in the tackle tech line, and I'm trying to avoid her. But unit. So I love when I get to come up against her, get to test my skills as well.
Yeah, no doubt. She is a special one. And this year, generally, of course, she's been out there as the sole captain with Chloe going out, unfortunately, really early in the season. And yeah, this season's been a bit of a tough one, of course, for the girls. You know, a lot of close losses, some pretty key injuries out with Chloe and Ali earlier in the year, and of course Gardner for pockets of that time. Tell us, how is the locker room? How are the girls feeling at the moment with the season that's happened so far?
Yeah, obviously disappointed is one that comes to mind. I think at the start of the year we had a really good, strong pre-season when we put ourselves in a position to hit the ground running come season time. And I think we had a really good game against Collingwood and it kind of showed that all our hard work during pre-season had paid off. But from there, of course, footy doesn't always go your way, and we had a couple of injuries, a couple of mishaps happen. And yeah, I guess we are a young group and we are still growing as a club, and when your key player and experience like Chloe Malloy goes down, it does leave fractures in the team. But I think we've had some girls stand up in Soph Hurley, Cynthia Hamilton, who's really taken on that leadership role, and we have a young midfield. I think we have 20, 21 and 22 in there, so we're going up against girls that are a lot older than us, a lot more experience. So for us, I think we kind of came to the looks of it as looking at the process rather than the destination. And I think halfway through the season we knew that this wasn't exactly going our way, but I think the losses is where you really learn most about yourself and where you improve as a club. And I think this year, going through the slumps together will put us in a good position next year.
even that game on the weekend, I know the commentators said exactly that. You came up against Lions and 15 of the girls had played every single game of the season, whereas you guys had 5. So it hasn't exactly been the year for the Swannies in terms of injuries. I think we've all been pretty impressed by the way you girls have stood up and just kept presenting and giving your heart in every single game. But on that injury front, how are you? How are you tracking both physically and mentally?
Yeah, good. It's been an interesting year for me. So obviously last year I struggled with stress response in my foot, which was hard going into each game knowing that I could only have a certain amount of Ks, and that always kind of weighs in the back of your mind, like, oh, should I be running here? Should I not? When you try not to just be out there, being there in the moment. But I guess having that pre-season under my belt gave me a lot of confidence as a player, and then I guess the start of the season was going well for me, and then I think it got to around 4 or 5 and I got a scan on my foot and it came back as stress response in my foot again. And I guess that was a lot devastating because I put a lot of hard work in and I thought that chunk of injury I was over. But, footy has a funny way of slapping you in the face sometimes. But I guess I learned a lot from last year and having a good rehab group around me, and I had the best support network. And I guess it's cliche, but having injuries really puts things in perspective for you. And I guess in terms of challenges and obstacles, it kind of repositions your view on things. And I guess as a player, I just built a lot of resilience from that. And I've had the support of the girls behind me all season, so it's made the rehab situation a lot smoother this year.
That's put really well in perspective. And look, all of us on this side of the telly, I guess, are all been really, really excited to see you put together a full season. And this year, you did a really, really good job. Granted, there's a little bit of injury in the middle, but this was your year. I don't know if you listened to our podcast, but we have been speaking about you a fair bit. And we were referencing, have you ever heard like the Chinese year of the rabbit, the Chinese year of the dragon, those kinds of things?
Yeah.
Right.
Have you heard
so we were
naming,
yeah. We've been calling this the year of the ham. Now, how does that feel?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I guess trying to be humble. There's a lot I can't do without the team.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue that into next year. We're going to make 2025 also the year of the ham and maybe come up with a few other nicknames. We do have a few other nicknames for some of the girls in the team, so hopefully you guys listen and have a little bit of a chuckle and aren't taking it too much to heart. I was going to lead on from what you just said before. Obviously, you've moved up from Melbourne. How hard has that been for you, and have you been feeling the love from the Sydney Swans and the Sydney fans?
Yeah, my transition's kind of been a smooth one, and I've been very grateful to be able to come up and have no kind of really bumpy roads, which was a blessing. And I think what really helps is my first year, I obviously spent half the time in Melbourne, half the time in Sydney. I was flying back and forth with VCE down there, which is HSC up here, I think.
Yeah.
So when I moved up full-time last year, I guess I kind of had already experienced partially being away from home and moved up. I made some really good friends through uni as well, which has made the transition really smooth. And I mean, what's not to love about Sydney? The beaches, the weather is so much better than Melbourne. No offense to Melbourne.
Ooh, shots fired.
But,
Not spicy at all, to be fair. It's very true, but yeah.
Yeah, I've loved everything about living up here, and I definitely don't regret my choices.
Oh, that's great to hear. I think when your name came up in the 2022, everyone was very, very excited. And actually, I remember coming across you when you were in your first year. I didn't come and say hello because at that point I was just letting you be. But I was really impressed by you are a very tall girl, and I can understand why McAvoy basically chases you to get a tackle in because, it's no doubt. You grew up with 2 brothers, from my understanding. Is that correct?
I did, yes, 2 older brothers.
Okay, and did they put you through some work, I guess, in the living room with some tackle work?
Oh, yes, I was WWE practice for them.
All right. Now, with all of this hard work you've been putting into your body, have you been able to start giving it back at this point?
I do. I try, but they're a lot older than me. They're 5 and 7 years older than me. So whenever I try hit them or punch them, they always hit me back 10 times harder. But, that's love. That's brothers for you.
Yeah, well, it shows on the field. It's obviously helped us with you being in the Swans because you're a tough contender out there. And geez, you're exciting to watch. Like whenever you're on there and you just take off, we're like, yes, here we go. Here's Ham. You burst out of the packs, and so we really hope that next year that foot doesn't play up on you as much because we want to see more of you on the field, and I personally want to see more of you in the midfield. If you could put your magnet anywhere, let's say this weekend coming, you say, get out of the way, Scotty, I want to put my magnet on the board, where would you put yourself?
I have played a bit of everywhere this year, but personal favourite, a fan favourite, I love the midfield. So
yes,
I would put myself in the midfield, but I do love rolling forwards. Everyone loves to kick a snag or two, so I do love rolling down there.
Okay. And just out of interest, we're talking about Scotty Gowans. From our perspective as fans, he comes across as a bit of a gentle touch, a soft guy, a little bit of a puppy dog. But then when speaking to like Chloe and Priv and McAvoy, they all mentioned that he's a bit of a hard nut in person, and he's hard to kind of track. What's your read? What's the truth here?
I think there's a bit of both from Scotty. Like he can knuckle down on us when we need to be, and that's what's great about him. But he also has that personable side and that soft side. He loves a bit of a joke. He loves a bit of a banter, and so do I. I'm very quick to throw shade his way. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, but he throws it back just as hard.
There's been rumours that he's got a bit of a dark sense of humour. I think what Chloe mentioned. So.
He does. That's why he gets along well with me and Luce, because we have a very dark sense of humour as well.
Oh, beauty! Right. That's good colour. Okay, so there is a bit of softness to him, but he can really get the team going when he wants to. I guess is that true 100%. Head coach mentality.
Yeah, so it makes him such a great coach.
Do you have a best friend within the club or the team right now? Do you have a little bestie that you guys go around with?
Yeah, well, some would say me and Luce have a bromance.
Excellent.
Lucy McAvoy, we're never really 5 metres from each other, which is quite funny. I'm pretty sure I annoy her sometimes, but always on her tail, keeping her on her toes.
Excellent. So I think we always think, we said this the other week when we were interviewing her, we think that she's older. Just because of the way that she plays and how composed she is, and she is a fantastic leader. Like I had some time with her down in Carlton, and finding out her age was just a shock. So yes, I think she is still only 22, 23, so it's not a 23. So there you go. That definitely makes sense. You've got to keep her on her toes. She's still a slightly bigger sister, but
when she first came to the club, the media people thought she was like 27.
Yeah,
and
we all did. We all did. Yeah.
When you really get to know her, she's silly.
She comes across as Jen said, they're so composed and so, I guess, such a leader. And then once we started chatting with her, you could see she's very playful, she's very personable, she's very honest. But then it seems like when she's on the ground, she turns into this other animal, which is a bit more like composed, structured, competitive. What's that transition for you while you're on the field, and how much do you really feed into it?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what's great about Liz. She has so many different personalities that she can bring at various times. Like she knows when to switch on, and she knows when she can have a laugh with the group. And I think as a leader, that's really valuable. And I think this year when we've had struggles and the team, it's not exactly going our way or momentum shifts, she's been one to really stand up and say, hey, that's not good enough, or this is what we need to do, what's next, moving on, always keeping us moving forward. I think as a young group, we haven't really experienced that much together. We've only been with each other for 3 years, so we're still learning how people react in certain situations. Like when something goes wrong, we don't exactly know every solution. So just having a leader that, makes us think outside the box, pushes us to be better. And I think personally she's really helped me with my game this year and kind of looking at it in different ways and how I can help the team on and off the field. And yeah, I think she's been amazing for our group. She keeps, like you said, a composed head on the field, which sometimes we need as a young group. We can be really frantic, but she's led from the front this year, and couldn't be more proud of her.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Speaking of that, like on and off the field, you can choose one of each or just for one. Do you have a favourite memory of the season so far?
On and off the field, I reckon we've had some pretty big milestones in our rehab. We've just had Chloe and Woody do their first bike session yesterday.
Wow, okay.
Walking without a brace as well. So I think just the little wins like that in rehab when they come along is really special for the group to see.
I guess a question for you specifically. You've had a few goals this year. You had a few posters. It's been a pretty fun year for you, running around a bit of everywhere, as you said yourself. If you were to have a song for your goal celebration, what would you select?
Oof, that's a hard one.
It's a hard one. We might come with a boombox this weekend and then just stand behind there for you, 80s style, just for like, instead of outside of a window or just behind the goalpost, just like, come on, yes.
All right, well then, if you go on an old school boombox, then I'll have to go an old school song.
Okay.
Right.
I'll go Dancing Queen.
Oh,
okay,
good one.
Ever.
I mean,
I love it.
You can't be unhappy with any ABBA. That gets you up and about.
Great.
That'll get everyone going. Oh, that's awesome.
All right. Let's get Henson Park. Surely there's some speakers at Henson Park.
There's got to be.
There's got to be.
Oh. Well, on that point, there's been a few different songs that have kind of come up along the way. Like what I'm definitely I'm seeing, like in having a chat with all the girls along the way, is there's a genuine sisterhood with the club. Like I know there's the blood culture, and that's a thing that's been bled through the club for quite a long time, and it's just ingrained itself into the way the club runs and the way everyone's coached and plays and puts their effort in. But even within the AFLW in particular, you've got your own little animal as well, this own little feeling and emotion and sisterhood. What does it feel like in that club with all those girls?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. I guess when we came in our first year, we were very lucky to have the boys take us on kind of little tour around the club and explain to us what exactly the blood culture means to them and how it's grown and the history behind that. And we understood that coming in as a fresh team, with the first women's team, that we were going to pioneer the history of the AFLW in the Sydney Swans and the female team. And I think we took some real pride and privilege in that. And like in our club, it says take the baton, and we really wanted to take that baton but kind of turn it into something special and something unique because we are females. We're not going to run the exact same as the men's team. We got to kind of make our stamp and turn whatever help them, but also what works for us. Like it's going to look very different. So I guess, over the last 3 years, it's kind of just been an evolution of what we want to build as a team and where we want to move towards, because we want to be a great team, not a good team, and we want to have sustained success in the way we go about things. And I think that comes down to just like the 1%ers and the little behaviours and the kind of expectations that we put on ourselves and we want to uphold. And whether that's in the public eye or behind closed walls, we just want to really take pride in how we go about it and be known for our culture on and off the field. And we hope that when we go on the field that is really seen through the fans and the media, and they can kind of see what we're trying to pioneer as a group and create something really special as a team. But this group of girls, they're amazing, and they never cease to amaze me. Every challenge that's thrown their way, they take it in their stride and they come with solutions. They never complain. We're kind of a head down, bum up team, and we just really pride ourselves on our work ethic.
Yeah, I think it does really seem like that heads down, bums up. We have been so impressed that you just keep coming every week, and each game another girl seems to step up, or there's still a core group that step up every week, and we're just so impressed with what you guys do. And just hearing that again about the men's, I know Luce told us that Dane Rampey really came to her individually. Do they come and train with you guys a little bit, or is it more off the field stuff that you guys do together?
Yeah, I'd say more off the field stuff. Like we have the privilege of sharing the same kind of recovery facilities in the dining area, so we get to mingle a lot with them outside training hours and kind of just getting their knowledge and their wisdom on the game, because they have been around a lot longer than we have, and it's 150 years of male footy, and it's only 8-9 years of female footy. So there's a lot to learn from that space there. And the boys have been amazing in that regards. We've had Lexi sit down with Brody Grundy, and he's been taking her through some ruck stuff. And Dan Rampy came and spoke to the backs group as well. Like they're just more than happy to extend a helping hand whenever we need it. And I think that's what's amazing about this club. It really does feel like a one club, one family team.
Excellent.
Speaking of Lexi, and I just actually wanted to touch on the Hamilton sisters altogether with, Lexi comes across as that big older sister that you should never cross because she will protect anyone all the time. Is that the way it feels on the field?
Oh, 100%. She's like everyone's older sister. She's a little cheeky one, that one, but I think that's the best part about her aggression in the game and her protective mentality towards us and towards her own sister as well. I wouldn't want to deck cheat in front of Lexi, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it has happened in one of the games, and Lexi was there pretty quickly on site. She showed up out of nowhere. So, she stood up this year as well, and I think everyone thrives off that. That's what she brings to the game, and we know that when she gets in a little tussle that she's going to come out firing. Yeah.
Yep, she's typically the first one there. We have been naming Cynthia as the red ribbon of death because when she goes to tackle the hurt. Have you noticed this in your practice runs or anything?
In training, yeah. Got on to end a few of those, but nah, she's great. I think they both grew up doing jiu-jitsu, I think it was, or something, so they have that background in them, and they are very tough nuts, and I mean, she's on my team, so she can do
whatever. These last couple of weeks, both Cynthia and Lexi have absolutely nailed people. We have been cheering. I mean, at the game on the weekend, 2 of Lexi's weren't paid. We've already gone into that. We're quite, the BS radar was up high for some of that umpiring in the last couple of games. But I think actually maybe yourself, Luce, the Cynthia and Lexi, they probably should need to go down to the men's training and get the boys to learn how to tackle. Row bottom aside. Maybe the men's need to come down to the women's training to get some tackling under their belt.
The Queanbeyan Sisters of Death. You love it.
I do have a question for you, actually, left of centre, running up to that. You can choose anyone in the whole league. Maybe just your own team might be easier. You've got some pretty skillful players on your side. If you could steal a skill from anyone, who would it be and what would it be?
Great question.
Ooh, that is a good question. I reckon I would steal Soph Hurley's craftiness. I think she's a player that makes time stand still when she has the ball. It looks like she has all the time in the world, and just the way she manoeuvres and evades around people, it's fun to watch and it's exciting, and every time she gets the ball, our eyes light up because we know that something spectacular is about to happen. So I would steal that part of her game.
Yeah.
Oh wow! What a great answer! And I'm really glad you brought her up because she's been just killing it this year. I would suggest that she probably is well up there in the Bob Skilton medal. It's a pretty special run that she's been having. Look, between you two though, like you have to. I hope you appreciate that us as fans watching both of you grow up and both being very, very young and playing many more games beyond your years. You've got so much footy ahead of both of you and you play such a different role in that spot. We're probably going to see you play together for years and years and years. How is that going? Like, how does it feel with Sophie? And what's her personality like? How does that all go?
Yeah, I think it's special to, be in this space, but to be in this space with someone that, you've grown up playing footy with for multiple years in junior league, you're playing against as well. She played for Senior and Dragon, so we had a lot of times where we would come up against each other. But yeah, I think we both moved up from Melbourne and we kind of, didn't know what to expect moving out of home. And I think having someone to do it with made it a lot easier, made the transition a lot smoother. We could just lean on each other in that regard. And we moved into the same house in the first year, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But she's been amazing just to watch grow up and grow into herself and grow into the woman that she is today. She's still very young and she's so smart and intelligent, not just on the field but off the field. I think when I think of someone who's just committed and has unbelievable work ethic, I think of Soph Hurley. Like, she's doing full-time architecture at school, which takes up a lot of her time. She studies late into the night and also getting up really early to come to training. And I think it's those little things that people don't see and don't realise behind the scenes that we all do. Like, we have jobs or full-time studies outside of what we do that we have to, be on top of to help pay the bills. It's not exactly cheap to live in Sydney, but so she just has the best personality. Her mum is from Colombia, so she's a little pocket rocket, and Soph definitely has those values in her. She's one that makes the team laugh and gets them up and about. But I think when she's on the field, she knuckles down and she really, pushes people to their limits and helps bring out the best in others. And she's been unbelievable to play with. I think it's easy knowing her, knowing where she's going to be, and I think that's what makes it's such a powerful duo with me and her, because we do know each other's strengths and we do know what each other like and where they're going to be. So I think, when you see those link-ups, it's exciting. Yeah,
we've definitely seen you two link up a few times on the field, and it is pretty to watch. You do seem to know where each other are. It's great that you brought that up as well, because I think a lot of people still don't realise how tough it is for the women's league, that often people have full-time jobs or just the sacrifice they have to make during their weeks where they have to leave work behind or uni behind, or they're finishing training and then going and doing their uni work. So the day is never just, your job's not just football. You have these massive days and long hours, and then people are expecting you to bring out these huge performances week after week. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing outside of footy.
Yeah, so I'm studying a Bachelor of Exercise Science and Masters of Exercise Phys. So it's a 5-year course. I'm just finished my second year and beginning my placement with the men's team at the end of this year, and that'll go up until March, which will be exciting just to be in that space and learn what they do. I think, we see a lot of each other at the club, but we don't exactly see how their program is run and their training schedules, because we're obviously off doing our own training sessions. So just to, see it firsthand, be involved in the program and really learn as much as I can from that space will be, an amazing experience.
I mean, not only as a career for you, but also just as a player. Having that much insight into the way they prepare the bodies is going to be so fascinating for so many different angles for you.
100%. I think that's what really drew me to studying this particular course, because I always growing up, I knew I always wanted to do something with sport or health science. And I think just being able to learn more about my body and how I can help it to best perform, because, our body is our tool to playing, and we need it to run right and to be moving properly for us to play good every week and perform to the highest we can. So just, being in class and understanding how different programs and why we do certain things. So when I come into the gym and Steve and Lee are like, this is our program, this is what we're doing, I kind of have a deeper understanding of how that's going to help me perform. And I think it kind of allows you to see it from a different angle, instead of being like, don't like this exercise. You can be like, well, this is making me stronger so I can run faster.
Yeah. And speaking of that, just like taking care of your body, we're all pretty annoyed with the AFL. We love AFL, but we are pretty annoyed, and I think there's a bit of spin doctoring around that those 4 games or 3 games in 2 weeks is a great idea. We don't agree with that. We want to see you guys play more games per season, but at least give you guys the time to recover between. How hard was that for you guys, playing those 3 games in, 3 games in 12 days or something?
Yeah, it was challenging. Personally, so I didn't play those compression round. That was when my foot injury kind of arose. So I was on the sidelines for most of those games. But definitely for the team, I think in that aspect, it does make it challenging. Just having to move on from games so quickly, you kind of can't really dive into too much, because straight after the game, you're practically on to oppo analysis for the next game coming in 3 days. So I think it does arise a lot of challenges, but again, everyone else was in the same boat, so we kind of had to realise that, this is not an ideal situation to be in, but the team we're playing against this week is also in the same position. So, but I think in the regards of injuries, it does make it a little bit harder when someone goes down with concussion or something. It kind of rules them out for a couple more games than they would like to be. And I think there is a lot of space that we can grow in that regards. But, I mean, as a playing group, we were just happy to have more games and kind of more time on the field means more experience. So there is silver linings to everything. But, I guess the compression round seemed good at the time, but I think if you look back at it, it would be nice to have a proper season, proper week in between. Yeah.
We'll say it on your behalf, and I know you don't necessarily going to say it as strong as we will, but we want to see you play more games. We want to see the pay packets go up. We're expecting a professional entertainment, a professional game from the AFLW, but they're also not paying or structuring it in a way that allows for that. So just know that, I guess, on this side of the coin anyway, as avid fans of the AFLW and of course our Bloods, we just don't see that the commitment from the AFLW has been entirely there, and we're hoping that that does change. And I know there's a lot of noise around the traps to make that happen from everyone and in between. So let's see where we end up. But one day we're hoping, Mon, that you are exclusively playing footy for a good coin and lifting many trophies up. Look, on the base about like the future and yourself, and you touched on it before about like the state of AFLW only being around for like less than 10 years. How does it feel when you have kids running around, boys and girls, wearing your number, asking for autographs, cheering alongside with you? Like, it's got to be surreal. Take us behind that emotion.
100%. It's definitely humbling to see so many little kids and fans, boys and girls, running up to you after the games, or even when they come into the club for tours and then they walk past and they see you and their face just lights up. I think it's times like that where you kind of realise that all the hard work is worth it, and we are in a position where we are role models and we have influence on the younger generation, and we take that with a real pride and privilege at the club, and we want to be known for a team that influences the younger generation to be the best that they can. And I think growing up, times have changed a lot since I was a little kid, and since some of the girls older than me were kids as well. We obviously played with the boys, and we were told that we had to stop when we were 12, and we couldn't really we didn't have that clear pathway to being a professional AFLW player. But I think now the younger kids, you can't really be what you can't see, but now you can see it. You can see that clear pathway, and there is a platform where us as athletes can have, a really impact on that and the younger generation. And it's something that we don't take for granted. And each day, as athletes, we try to be the best that we can be and have the best impact that we can on the younger generation.
That's a very good answer.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've written on there as well. Number 18, does that hold a special place in your heart? Tell us a little bit about 18. Yeah,
it does. So when I was drafted, I picked the number 18 because it's my dad's birthday. So when I was 10 years old, my dad passed away. And I guess footy was our way of connecting. We would always be in the backyard kicking the footy outdoors. My dad was a huge outdoors person, so us as kids, we never really were inside. We were always doing something, whether it was surfing, motorbikes, kicking the footy around. So I guess that was a dream that we shared together, and he really helped pioneer that for me, and he was a big influence in that regard. And he's really taught me everything I know and all the basic foundations that I learned, not just footy skills, but, the core values that I live up to. In terms of my dedication and hard work and resilience, I really learnt from him, and I took all those great attributes and quality that he had. And I guess this was my way of kind of thanking him and kind of having a piece of him on the field with me. So when I run out on the field, it's like he's there with me and he's cheering me on.
Look, and you have to appreciate, and I really hope you do. I know you're very humble, but you have made such an impact on that number 18. It is going to be iconic to the AFLW Sydney Swans forever. and I really hope you appreciate that.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, I think we've got a future leader speaking to us right now, just the way that you're answering all our questions and we're peppering you. You're very humble. You're very mature for your age. Let's get into exciting stuff as well. This weekend, how are we feeling leading into this game against West Coast?
Yes, I think we're ready to go. And we've obviously had a tough season, but, the season's not over yet and we'd like to go out with a win on the board. And I think this week we've kind of come in, sat down and really spoke about what we want to get out of this last week as a club, because I think it's these little moments that really define where we're going to go as a club in the future. And we don't want to be a club that just, lays down and accepts defeat. We want to be a club that really pushes all the way through to the end and brings that effort and intensity regardless of the result. And I think this week is a great opportunity to show that as a team that we're not just going to be a team that you can come in and walk over. We're going to give you a good hard competition and a good hard game. So I think, the energy's up. Everyone's ready to go. Last game at home at Henson Park. We love playing there. We have the best fans in the competition. So anytime that we get to play in front of them, it's spectacular and the atmosphere is always amazing.
It is the bleeding heart of Henson Park, the bleeding heart of Sydney, Jen, as she's mentioned. Tell us, it's got to be your most favourite place to play, right?
Oh, 100%. Henson Park is, I think the atmosphere there and the kind of the fans and just seeing, when you run out onto the field and just seeing red and white everywhere, just, it's really humbling and I guess the atmosphere that our fans bring, it really lifts us up and we draw off the energy. Every time that they're screaming and cheering our names, we feel it and it pushes us to, it brings that little bit of energy that we need and that boost of confidence, I guess. And we love playing in front of our fans. We wouldn't be here without them. And I guess can't thank them enough for their support this year.
Excellent. So have you been given a freedom for this last game? Just go out there and Mighty Ducks it, or is there still going to be some structure happening this
Mighty
year?
Ducks
Just go for it. Or is it no, there's still a process, there's still structure? Or is there a secret you and Lusa let's just go out and bosh some people?
No, I think there's obviously some elements. We're still a club that wants to work on where we want to be and the process that we want to drive and the game plan that we want to play by. So there is an element of that 100% that, we won't stray too far from our game plan. We have the way we want to play it and the way Scotty wants us to play it, and it's our responsibility to go out there and execute that. But in saying that, each player has their own little flair and each week we really pride each other to, live up to that flair and bring that to the game. We're 21 unique characters. We don't all play the same way. So we've got a lot of new players coming into the side this week. And I think for them, it's just having the confidence to play their way and bring their strengths to the team, because their strengths help bring out my strengths. So, I guess, just summing it up, we want to play our way, but with our little bit of flair.
Love it.
Good. It's going to be a pretty exciting game. Of course, the last game of the season this year in Sydney. And I'm certain it's going to be a beautiful day and it's going to be a big crowd at Henson Park. So we look forward to seeing you there. Mon, I guess just before we head off, is there anything you want to say to the Swans fans out there that would probably listen to our podcast every week and follow what you girls do all the time?
Yeah, I'd just like to say a huge thank you for the support and encouragement this year. I think it's been a tough year for us, but knowing that we have the backing of the fans behind us has made it a lot easier and makes each week going out playing a lot we want to go out and play for the fans. So I guess where you're at the games or at home, we hear you cheering and we really appreciate it and we can't thank you enough.
Excellent. Beautiful. Well, a Saturday, 3:05 p.m. down at the Bleeding Heart, Henson Park. It's going to be the weekend of the ham, and then we're going to lead on into 2025, continuing the year of the ham.
Let's go.
Yeah. So everyone get down there. We've talked about it a few times on the potty. The more people that get down to these games, the better it is for the AFLW comp in general, the better for the Swannies. We want to grow the comp. We want to get more games. We want to give the girls time between the games to recover. Let's make this a professional outfit. Let's get a win for the last game of the season. Anything else you want to add, Chris?
No, I just want to say we'll see you at Henson Park. Thank you, Mon, for all of the answers and being so honest and humble. And yeah, we, as Jen said, we look forward to a fantastic year.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jen. See you at Henson.
See you at Henson. All right. Well, up until next time, we'll see you at Henson Park. But until then, up the
Up the
bloods.
bloods. And
And
can you Swannies?
Let's go.